No, but especially like, in the beginning when I heard like Chris Pratt is back in space and he's saving people, I was like, oh, it's not the sequel, it's that movie. But the thing is, like, you're like amongst like the most popular actors out there, like the A-listers on top right now. And I must be honest, I should actually apologize because I was so surprised that you guys pulled it off because everybody wants to be your friend, your buddy, and I wasn't really so sure if this chemistry might work, but it did.
Aww.
Oh, thanks.
Were you kind of aware of that? That people would say like, "Oh, Chris is a buddy, Jen is a buddy," but people actually expect there's something going on between you. And did you work on that specifically by having dinner dates and just like working it out for some reason?
We never did a dinner date.
No, we never had a dinner date. But people talk about chemistry, and I remember I took chemistry in high school. Not to brag.
End of story.
Yeah. But like I don't remember exactly what they did, but they kind of like throw some chemicals together and see what happens. Maybe they would bond, maybe they wouldn't, but we did. And like they didn't have to add a bunch of heat or put it in a vacuum or do what you sometimes have to do to molecules to make them bond together. We just naturally did.
We caught on fire.
We caught on fire. And it burned her hair off.
But
it was a nightmare.
That's why I'm wearing a Ukrainian girl's hair.
I
Because our chemistry was so strong that my head blew up.
Her hair off.
Well, I wouldn't have noticed that because I'm not so much the hair guy. But seriously, this is like this entire thing. Like this movie was like on the blacklist, like this an ominous blacklist for about like 7 years now.
Yeah.
What actually dragged you to this script, and how did the script get you guys to be on this entire project?
Personally, I get really excited about scripts that are on the blacklist because they're around for a reason, and there are always some of the best scripts that are out there. Just for whatever reasons, certain parts have not come together. The director hasn't been found yet. Certain actors haven't. 7 years ago, we wouldn't have certainly been either of us.
Yeah.
So I personally get excited about blacklist scripts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what drew me to this movie. Was this script was so good. It was so good, and thankfully, it was waiting for the right cast. I mean, they couldn't make it with anyone else. They had to make it with us because it's an expensive movie. And nowadays, you can't really make a movie as expensive as this that's based on original intellectual property. And that's why you see such a rarity of like truly original giant studio movies out there. They're going to always be based on something that has reached like a previous title or maybe a sequel or a book or a remake. This is something that no one has ever made before. And it was fairly expensive because as you see, when you see the movie in size and scope, it's a big, massive blockbuster undertaking. It costs a lot of money to make that. So one of the ways for the studio to be able to at least justify spending that money is casting, Jen. Or,
Actually, the two of you, because I heard like
or
the original budget was like 35 million, and now it's like 120 because they heard your names on the list. So
right.
That's the myth.
So they use the success of our previous movies to be the reach, hopefully, that allows this script, this blacklist script, this wonderfully original, powerful, moving, resonant epic can come to life because they put us in it.
In which way do you think that this movie will actually influence your career, like in general? I mean, what you felt, because that's the first love scene for you in a movie, as far as I've been told, and also like from you going like from this other franchises that we love you for and know you for, it's also like a type of different direction. So, in which way is this an influence for your career?
Well, this for me was the first movie that I did outside of franchises, so it was really scary, to say yes to it. There was a big weight because everything for the past 5 or 6 years has been in between either an X-Men or a Hunger Games. So it's like, okay, I only have one time for one movie a year. Normally it was a David O. Russell movie that I know is going to be great because it's David. This was kind of the first me stepping out, graduated from all of the franchises and really stepping out as this is my first movie that I feel like I'm representing myself without all of the other franchises. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
I think it makes sense. Yeah. For me, what it means, I guess, is it's an opportunity to try something different and to do something different, to show a side of myself that I've never been able to show an audience before, and to step into a movie that encompasses a genre that I haven't really explored before. it was just something different, and I really liked that. You know, I had, before Passengers, had shot Magnificent Seven, so I was like this gruff, like fun-loving, drinking cowboy with a really rough edge who kills people. And then to go into something like this, a character who's like, there's a gentleness about him and a quietness about him, and you know, he's not trying to constantly make jokes, and he's not goofy at all, you know, but he's also not necessarily an action hero. It was just an opportunity to play a completely different character. So for me, that's what I'd love to. I'd love to continue to do things like that if I can.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas,
Thank
Hanukkah, or
you.
just simply a good time with your family, drinking and fighting with parents.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what I do best.